divine grace of His devotion to Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Char Shraddha Jai Premsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktarinda Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktarinda Ki Jai Nanda Hari Glories to the Son of the All glories to the Son of the All glories to the Son of the All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Guru. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Excellent. 10.
So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, chapter 25, text 10. Just read this shloka. Nutina pulkripaya babhara sattvam samshuram sat asat idam vibhadi tatra yal leelam mrigapatir adade navadyam padatim sajana manamsi udara viryaham. Translation. This manifestation of subtle and gross matter exists within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of causeless mercy towards His devotees, He exhibits various forms which are all transcendental. The Supreme Lord is most liberal and He possesses all mystic power. To conquer the minds of His devotees and give pleasure to their hearts, He appears in different incarnations and manifests many pastimes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Jiva Goswami has translated this verse as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. It is by His will that gross and subtle ingredients interact. He appears in various incarnations just to please the hearts of His pure devotees. For example, the Supreme Lord appeared in the transcendental incarnation of the Lord Varaha, Boa, just to please His devotees by lifting the planet Earth from the Garbhodak ocean. We'd like to read the text 11 also. Yasnama shrutam anukirtaye takasmat atuvayari patitaha pralambanatva hantyam vasa parinvinamashesham anyam kam shishad bhagavata ashrayen mumukshu. Even if he be distressed or degraded, any person who chants the holy name of the Lord, having heard it from a bona fide spiritual master, is immediately purified. Even if he chants the Lord's name jokingly or by chance, he and anyone who hears him are freed from all sins. Therefore, how can anyone seeking disentanglement from the material clutches avoid chanting the name of Lord Shesha? Of whom else should one take shelter? Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamne Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharan Nirvishesh Shnivadi Pashkati Dizataya. This manifestation of subtle and gross matter exists within the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of causeless mercy towards His devotees, He exhibits various forms which are all transcendental. The Supreme Lord is most liberal and He possesses all mystic power. To conquer the minds of His devotees and give pleasure to their hearts, He appears in different incarnations and manifests many pastimes. Even if he be distressed or degraded, any person who chants the holy name of the Lord, having heard it from a bona fide spiritual master, is immediately purified. Even if he chants the Lord's name jokingly or by chance, he and anyone who hears him are freed from all sins. Therefore, how can anyone seeking disentanglement from the material clutches avoid chanting the name of Lord Shesha? of whom else should one take shelter? So of course this is a wonderful, encouraging shlokas here, pointing out to Krishna's arrangements. Krishna makes an arrangement, so we can all ultimately become Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead. However, especially the second shloka, I should be very careful with. It invites sahajaism. That's the Christian path today. You know, Jesus loves you, and therefore I can do whatever I want. No. It is very encouraging in a point of view that, and it's right away in the shloka built in, of course, anyway, that, first of all, even the chanting of the holy name, having heard it from a bona fide spiritual master, that means it is to be delivered in a bona fide parampara. And one is to act within the frame of parampara. But of course, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he said, Sahajiyas are still better as Mayavadis. They are basically Mayavadis, but they are still better because it carries a personal concept, you know. Yeah. It's like I can chant your name in a mocking way or but still, I somehow understand that you are a person. You know, I may not do it in a proper way, and I may not worship you in a proper way, but still there's a concept to worship somebody. So that's still higher. And if not offensive to a real Vaishnava, such as Sahajiya, can eventually become sober up from his mental hallucinations and actually, you know, become a real devotee. Usually Kanishta and Sahajiya is very close. This is, you know, a material concept. Derived, Krishna consciousness derived from concepts, derived from a mental platform. You know, Kanishta has one wonderful quality. He knows, yes, there is God, Krishna. Yes, we should go to Krishna. He knows even the process, chanting Hare Krishna. But he doesn't understand himself. You know, he knows the goal, he knows the process, but he doesn't understand his position. And therefore, he compromised the whole performance by, you know, putting himself in a position he doesn't belong to. So for being properly situated, it's such an essential need. They are not properly situated and not aware, as Prabhupada, as Krishna says actually, one should strive by proper means. Proper means actually that one should understand one's position, one should understand the process, and one should gradually, that word gradually is used, you know, progress with two requirements, since Jiva Goswami is saying this is enthusiasm and patience. This is a combination which is not very well known in the material world. People are enthusiastic, they are not patient. And when they are patient, or whatever patience is, especially the Ganesh formula for patience is, you just sit and do nothing and wait patiently until something happens. You know? So that's called tamogu. This is actually tamasic. So I'm a very peaceful man. I'm just very peaceful. I sleep all the time. You know? So they say in German, whoever is sleeping, he's not sinning. You know, this is a tamasic formula. You know, because you don't exhibit any external action. So, this is all privilege of the Kanishtas and Sahajiyas. But the chanting of the holy name should be done properly, and we know that. Every morning you read and hear about the 10 offenses against the name, which will not stop the power of the holy name. The power is there. But the example is given, it's like lighting up a fire and covering up with that blanket, pouring water simultaneously on it. So then there will be some glimmer, there will be also smoke. So for sometimes people conclude Krishna consciousness is so disturbing. It's so, you know, I used to be so peacefully floating with the modes of material nature, in harmony with the material world. And here I'm chanting and I feel so much disturbance. Yeah, of course, because first of all, we are opposing the material nature, and second of all, if not done properly, there will be a conflicting things going on. You lighten up a fire, you pour water, you know what happens, lots of smoke, we are sometimes a bit smoldered, in the face, because we take Krishna consciousness, we try to ignite a process, then we contradict it by our actions, then we have the misconception of our position, and we have our concept how to progress, and it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work, because it's a mental concept. Still, it's a spiritual concept from a spiritual platform, but projected into the mind. It's called vimukta manina in a higher stage. Mentally liberated. One thinks, yes, I am there. No, it's just the mind. One can imagine anything. I can also imagine I can fly out of the window because I became a bird. Such a people usually end up at best in a hospital. So this is projections, imaginations, dreams, expectations, hopes, and these kind of things which we do that. And there's a regulative process how to be cured from these imaginations and being brought to the point of reality, ending up with the ultimate real thing, and it's called dying. That's real. Nobody can imagine anything at that point. I imagine I'm not dying. No, you are dying. That's it. But I imagine I'm not. You can imagine whatever you want. You are dying anyway. Birth, old age, death and disease cannot be imagined. It's happening. Finished. And as soon as we enter that field, adibhutik, adiatmik, adidevic, misery is pounding on us from other living entities, from the supernatural powers, and from our own body, from the day we are born. Instantly, even before. So, this is material nature talking very clearly. Putting us, trying always to put us in a shape. Like Arjuna, that's where Bhagavad Gita starts, had a concept. He could be a really nice follower of Gandhi or something like this. A non-violent resistance. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. Actually when you take a distance from all these Gandhi ideas, it's stomachable. You just sit and do nothing. They beat you on the head, you do nothing. And you just do nothing. That's the whole message of. And he even used Bhagavad Gita for that. That's the whole. It sounds like well-meant idea. Be peace and love and and the hippies would join in. You could make a whole movement out of this. Gandhi could go to San Francisco with the flowers in the hair, and doing what? Nothing. You always end up with the nothing. Arjuna wanted to do nothing, hippies wanted to do nothing. You just be loving, you do nothing. You just be like, but then, this is so nicely done in this early days comics, fish is just a fish. When the fish comes out of the water and becomes a human being, he thinks, this is great. And then Maya appears and goes, yes, sorry, but you will have to work for it. You have to work. And so Maya gives us the enthusiasm. Now I'm standing on my own 2 feet. I'm independent. I work hard. Of course, that's not really independent. But I work hard. I get the money. It's my money. And I can spend it the way I judge fit. My God, what a feeling. I don't depend on anybody. I just work hard for somebody the whole day. So this is already the whole game started. And it's not something to be even criticized. Prabhupada never criticized this hard work. He said, no. Especially as a grihastha, you must work. You cannot just be grihastha sannyasi. That was Arjuna's idea. Just from Varnashram Dhamma point of view, it was the wrong idea. I'm a grihastha. He was a grihastha. So grihastha means you perform your occupation. That's all. But he wanted to retreat like a sannyasi. He wanted to go on a retreat in a forest and just meditate and let it all be. No, let it all be. You can do later. That's for another portion of life. But right now, put your nose in it and go for it and taste it, and you will see. Like money never comes easy. Even people who inherit money, they have to work hard to maintain it and not to lose it. Money never. This money is never for free. It's my daughter when she was, small. She still partially maintains the concept that, that money is just something you get and you spend it. You don't make it. You just get it and, you spend it. There are females sometimes, they have these ideas, that it's something you get and then you spend it. Yeah. No. Then the real reality of life is, no, first you have to get it. So I had to inform my daughter, who was certainly an unlimited, fountain of different desires. Children means like they are small, but the desires are big. They are really big. Yeah. And they can tell you things. Why don't we buy this castle? And things like that all the time. Using very well the inherent attachment of the parents, and the attachment must be there. Otherwise, if you're not attached to children, you're in a bad shape. And the children too. So there's a certain game to be played. So you just go, yes, and especially girls, they can really screw up the fathers in a very professional way, in a very, very early stage. It's the same game later on, but it takes more profound dimensions in this. But when they are small, they are even more equipped. Because they are small, innocent, helpless, I'm all yours, can you buy it for me? And that is very, very heavy. You have to be a father to understand it. It's very heavy to resist. It's really, they give you the feeling, why didn't you just rob a bank and buy her the castle? What have you done? You didn't rob the bank, what an offense. They can implement that feeling of guilt into you on a full scale. And they know how to use it. They use it in such an ease, it's just equipped for that. Yeah. So, so when my daughter, finally I had to inform my daughter, sorry, this is a nice idea, but right now we have no money for that. And she looked at me very innocently and said, well, if we cannot buy this, because we have no money, then we should buy some money. Simple logic. I was defeated, I couldn't say anything. Yeah, we should buy some money. Okay, great. This is a children logic like that. It's like, this is all the time. But material world doesn't work like this. You have to work from the first day. Work actually is defined in Bhagavad Gita not as getting a job. Only, it's performing activity. That's work. You work. Even children, they have to work. They have to struggle. They have to struggle to get to the mother's breast. They have to struggle to find this shelter, and they have to struggle all the time. This is material world. It's called Karshaki. Heavy fight for struggle. Just to be born is a struggle. Why didn't Krishna arrange that the mothers just walk around, they go, good morning, and the child is born, and hello. It never happens like this. It's very often a very ghastly scene, Sometimes the mothers, Prabhupada comments, swears, never again. Such a pain. I was very close to it. I went through a birth. I was almost feeling like giving birth myself. It's when you go to a 12 hours birth procedure, with doctors being involved, ultimately ending up just cutting the mother to pieces, that's all. What else you can do? They cut up the mother and take the baby out. And it's all bloody and it's all screams and pains and all terrible. If for this few minutes sex life you have, you would know what comes after. Therefore the women sometimes they look at the men like, what are you talking about? Because your input was really very minimal in the whole procedure, because the whole burden comes in on the mother. And that's just the beginning. And when the child is born, then the real show starts. No more sleeping, no more chanting, very often. If I wouldn't just take the child away from my wife and carry it around for 10 years, she wouldn't get done much chanting. And they do stop chanting. Most of the Matajis, they do stop chanting. And then they say, okay, I will chant when the child is 2 years old, I don't know what, I will come. But it's very difficult to come back to this then, It's a very heavy challenge. You have somebody vocabulary eating you up every 3 hours, at least. He doesn't care if you sleep or not, or where you want to go, what you want to do. He couldn't care less. Already before the child is born, it's a wonderful thing. When the mother is moving, running around, the child in the womb thinks, well, there's some action, it's very nice. It takes a good rest. And as soon as the mother takes rest, the child gets panic. What happened? So quiet here. But it's in the womb. So the mother goes, tries to rest, and it goes, with the foot sticking out. Action! Yeah. And then, and somehow the babies are programmed when they think action means that the feet have to move. For no reason, really. If you could connect at least some gizmo to produce some electricity. Because it's very powerful. Because the hands are not so developed, but the feet are very strong. They can really kick you in the face. And then, and that's the whole thing. So that is struggle. To your nature, nothing is for free. Everything has its price to be paid. So holy name, yes, it is absolutely liberating. The question immediately attached to this shloka is, yes, even a very distressed person, degraded, or whatever, when he chants the holy name, he will be freed from all sins. Yes, we cannot define the statement. The question is what you are going to do 2 seconds after. Now you are liberated. You think, I'm liberated. Okay, then I can start again. Great. And that's where all the effect is not destroyed, but postponed. Postponed up to 600 lifetimes or whatever. Prabhupada said. That's due to offenses, and one of the offenses against the holy name is to sin consciously, trusting in the power of the holy name. I can do it. And the example of an elephant bath is given. The elephant goes and sucks, after 2 baths, sucks dirt from the beach and goes, and throws the dirt over himself. Next second he's dirty again. So it's not as simple as people may think. I just go, India, that's very common, I'm chanting. They wake up in the morning, they go, Hare Krishna! And that's it. And they think, I'm free from all sins. Now I can start again the whole day. And and maybe in the evening I go, Hare Rama! And then everything is fine. Obviously it's not fine. You can chant like this. There's a purifying effect for thousands of years. There's a purification, but it's a really slow flame, very small flame, burning process. So, and it can come to a great point of agitation, because Krishna will suddenly demand, what do you want? You chant, what is actually the chanting? Maha Mantra, what does it mean? Please, Krishna, remove the influence of the material energy and engage me in your devotional service. Okay, you chanted, you prayed, now the service is coming, what do you want to do? What? I don't want this service. I just want to chant. Well, why? Oh, what? Well, the chanting is service, right? Yeah, it is. And the result of that chanting, of that service, is that you get some more service. You ask for it. It's like going to a restaurant, you read the menu, you order, and then the waiter comes and brings the meal, and he goes, what shall I do with this? Well, you ordered it. What? I'm not hungry. Well, I'm sitting in the restaurant. It's completely schizophrenic. So this schizophrenia chanting we do, it creates agitation. We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna, this, and then the service is coming, and you go, hey, I have to keep on chanting. Oh, leave me alone. So it starts to clash. And ultimately, of course, we stop. Because it's so agitating to chant. Because you always ask for something you don't want. It's very, very agitating. So why are you doing this? Don't you stop? And Krishna listens. He is in the heart. He listens and goes, you chant, but you don't want that son. Then why should you ask her? And he gives you inspiration. No, actually, I have to stop chanting. I have to save time. This 1.5 hours a day, this is too much. I could do so many things. And Maya goes, yes, you could. You could. I told you. You're wasting your time here. You know? Come on. You know what you're going to do in 1.5 hours? You were not 1.5 hours on the internet, you know? You missed the whole thing. You know what happened all the time there? You were not on Facebook for 1.5 hours. You lost the meaning of life. Please, get yourself going. And I saw devotees even desperately try to combine both. They have a hand in a beatback and they go, Hare Krishna, enter, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Scandinavia was the pioneer land because it was the first thing where the computer revolution really arrived. You know, they had 5 billion megabytes before everybody was downloading one picture for 3 days. In the rest of Europe, they were already and the first one was devotees. One of the foremost Vaishnavas in Krishna's God was award-winning, you know, software producer in the whole world. You know, it was kind of, you know, Swedish people sometimes, they are very skinny, but they have a huge brain. It's big. And it goes. Prabhupada called it fertile brain. Very fertile. Everything grows. You know, just goes. Very good for the internet world. Because internet and computer is a world designed to answer all the questions you never asked. You know? It just showers and people get ideas and ending up just good games. We had a big problem, you know. Actually, the managers were the first one who had a full access to internet, which was even domestic, you know, all technology. We had programs running on nobody knew in the whole world. We had access. I remember I got my first Toshiba computer. It looked a little bit funny, you know. And I was like, they teach me, you know, until today, fortunately, I never mastered that science. So I just know enter and tweet an email and that's it. And usually computers are machines which break down in my presence. So it's very simple, you know, it's like I was saved. But those who really got into it, wow. Right away after, you know, Mangala Atik, they were already, you know, sitting in a corner of the temple room, you know. Good management. I know the devotees doing it for 5 years, you know, before they finally stopped. I mean, stop not doing that, stop Krishna consciousness. So it's just like, oh, internet is going on. We had things going on. Of course, it didn't take long. It was revealed that the managers, they don't participate in any programs. They don't give any lectures. Why? Because you could see the office at night. With a blue light blinking all night. Until our GBC had to give a really heavy thundering lecture. He said, when will our managers grow up and stop playing games the whole night like infant boys? Because, you know, the managers were, you know, it's just Maya is just, internet is just Maya, is just one click away. And so you are just pong, 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 and then you have StarCraft. I mean, it's relaxing after whole day pressure of management. You can just go and shoot somebody on the internet. You know, it's kind of relieving. It relieves the pressure. So they end up playing games against each other, and you know, this is the end of of temple president management. You know, at night you just go boom, boom, boom. So it's like I remember that lecture was very heavy. You know, it stopped after that. There are temples in Europe which you would have no chance to enter, you know, access internet whatsoever, especially in Eastern countries. There's only one cable, and that's it. And nobody has access to internet like that. And they do function quite well. You know, you can live without internet, believe it or not. But we cannot anymore stop this wave, you know, lazy